Let's begin.
Listen carefully.
Let's begin.
Yeah, politics. Pod. They're all bloodsuckers. We're here. Third episode. We got 3 of the 4 crew. Someday we'll have all 4 of us on one show, but not yet. But that's all right because we got me, Brian McWilliams. We've got John Odermatt, and we've got, of course, comedian Lou Perez, who is still on tour with the one and the only Scott Thompson from Kids in the Hall. So he's doing it from the business center. Are they still bumping Bruce Springsteen for you in the background?
Right now, we got some smooth R&B happening.
All right.
Which it seems like such a waste because I'm here by myself in the business center, and I could be getting some business done. But no, I'm all alone with some smooth R&B. I'm in Greensboro, North Carolina. So if we have any Lions of Liberty supporters in Greensboro, hit me up. Let me know what I should be doing here. And then we're making our way to Atlanta for a show on Tuesday, the 10th, at the City Winery in Atlanta. So any Lions of Liberty folk in the Atlanta region, come on down, see your boy. And it's a great show for show. It's a great show for show.
For sure. Well, I like that you're in the corner booth too. So like if you got R&B bumping, you're like, if you're at the strip club, you're in the prime location, corner booth. You're hard to get to. Like you could pick and choose your lady. Anyway, yeah, make it rain, baby. So welcome to the show, guys. Third episode of the Politics podcast here. We have a lot to talk about. Before we get into anything, though, I do want to remind you, this is on the Lions of Liberty Network. It has its own feed now. Politics has its own feed, or should have it any minute now. Yeah, hopefully. Apple is registered, but I just noticed they're making us up-res our image. So I just did that.
I just did it too. So,
oh, great, wonderful. Well, Apple doesn't know what to think. We got 7 people. Anyway, Politics will have its own feeds. You can follow that. But Lions of Liberty Network, you can find this show. You can find John's show, Mean Age Daydream, of course, the Lou Perez podcast, Lou Perez show, and Brian Nichols show, all on one beautiful, big, beautiful network.
Big, beautiful network. That's what it's all about.
Network. Yeah, guys, you want to talk about this whole?
It's a shame there's not much happening in the world today. It's just boring. Twitter's dead. Nothing happening.
Yeah, holy hell, man! As I said in the title of this, from bros to blows. That, to quote Anchorman, that escalated quickly. Wow! I mean, Donald Trump gives Elon Musk the key to the White House like 3 days ago, and now he has to change all the locks.
Yeah,
excellent episode killing joke. Start it off.
Yeah, well, I think everyone knew this was going to happen, right? But not this quickly. And also, since it happened, it's like, oh wow, it's happening. I was driving with Scott from Alexandria, Virginia, down to we stopped in Greensboro, North Carolina, and I'm driving. He's on his phone while all this stuff is coming in, and some of the tweets and stuff are just so unbelievable that you're like, oh, come on, these are obviously 2 parody accounts going back and forth with each other, and then it's like, no, this is legit. Well,
that's the question, though, right? Is it? People are saying, is this a fake fight or not? Which I made the joke on Twitter. I'm like, look, if this is a fake fight, then the Democrats the leftists can no longer say that they have the mastery of the fine arts, because if they're faking it, this is a beautiful play. This is going back to the Greek era of dramedy. I hope it's fake, because it would be amazing if it was, but I think it's real. I think it's 2 big personalities that came head to head. Hey, Jason Stapleton watching. Love me some Jason Stapleton. Yeah, I mean, this is insane, but predictable. Like Thomas Massey called this. He called this, a year ago, and he's like, look, you got 3 forces here coming to a head. And I don't think it's going to work out. And he's right. So Jason Stapleton, a friend of ours, he says, didn't stop the war, didn't cut waste, promoting a huge spending bill, tariffs. What has he actually accomplished? Well, yeah, I mean, Donald Trump's accomplished nothing at this point. I mean, some deregulation, but you can see someone like an Elon Musk, who is, let's not forget, autistic, maybe on ketamine. We can talk about that.
Probably
laser focused on this, getting shit done, and to spend all the time, all the risk, all the money, and then be like, oh, for nothing. And then for Donald Trump to be like, he's a chump.
Well, the Republicans, I should say, you have to divide it now. You can't just say Republicans, since we're in there's multiple camps now. There's the MAGA Republicans, and then there's the Rhino Republicans, and now I guess we have the Musk Republicans. I don't know, but the Trump Republicans, the MAGA Republicans, would say, well, those DOGE cuts are going to be codified. Once we get this passed through, then we'll do the DOGE cuts. And it came out earlier, which is crazy. Speaker Mike Johnson said, well, we've been working on this bill for 14 months. We can't just change it now. So who was president 14 months ago?
Right.
It was not Donald Trump, right? I mean, it's just crazy how Washington operates, and nothing changes how they operate. Like, maybe this is a fake fight. Maybe Trump and Elon are like, we got to find some way to blow this thing up. Like, what can we do? And I don't know. It's either way, it's absolutely insane. If it is a fake fight, I don't think we'll ever know either way.
Well, I think
they are bumping that music now.
Do you hear? This is Phil Collins.
Turned it up. There's a guy podcasting in there. Turn the music up louder.
Is this going to get demonetized right now, guys? I'm so sorry. I'm in the lamest strip club in Greensboro, North Carolina. The lights are on. They're playing Phil Collins.
I love how a professional comedian Lou Perez, who spends his life talking into a microphone, somehow doesn't have a microphone to bring with him to do this podcast. He can plug into his computer. We'll buy you a mic, Lou.
I'm gonna hold you to that, and if not, I'm gonna go full Elon on you, and you can go full Donald Trump on me. I was just gonna say, but before Phil Collins interrupted me with his beautiful song, I don't think it's a fake fight, because I think the specifics that they're going with are really like toxic and damaging. I mean, for Elon to come out and say that Trump is listed in the Epstein files, which has been a huge clarion call for so many people, saying like, release, we want names, we want the files. It went dirty like really, really quickly. And yeah, I don't know what it says, where it's sort of like you're having all these fights that are happening online versus like behind closed doors. There's as much fun as this is, it's sort of the full loss of decorum, and it's like, where do you go from here? Because now at least, as far as like Trump goes, I don't think he's going to be the type of guy who just lets it go,
Trump's actually been more measured though in this fight. I mean, that's saying something in itself, but Elon's been way more over the top, I think, in his attacks.
What I'm hoping is that like maybe what Donald Trump is doing is like he's like trading out his semen for like Elon. So now Elon thinks that he's impregnating all these women who are going to go to Mars, and they actually all turn out to be Trump's kids.
Little Trump's still
up
there.
Little Trump's a little wavy here.
Well, let me ask you this. So there was, when Trump gave Elon the key to the White House, and let's not forget, this was last week this happened, that he gave him the key. The key had a Reddit logo on it. Did you guys see that? The key had what appeared to be a Reddit logo on it. And now thinking back, I'm wondering, I'm like, did they do this press conference and then, to the world be like, it's all smooth, it's all good. And then Trump gives Elon, he's like, yeah, give him the key to the White House, but put the Reddit logo on it, just to like be a dick and just to stick it up his ass. Because now if I think about that, I'm like, I could see that being a thing. I could see Elon being absolutely furious, having answered questions in the White House defending Trump, and then he gets this key with a Reddit thing on it because they've been fighting in the background, and then he just gets home and he's like, fuck this guy. Like, I know what I legit think about it. What a douche move to do this whole thing and then have a subtle dig on Elon by putting the Reddit key logo or the Reddit logo.
That makes as much sense. Maybe it's true, but it makes as much sense as the people who are saying that Elon is so upset because Trump took away the EV credits.
Which is bullshit.
That's
because Elon's been out there. Elon's been out there talking about how he doesn't want credits. He wants all subsidies removed. There's, I mean, and he posted his own videos. He's like, "This is me saying to remove him from before. Get rid of all the subsidies. He doesn't need. You don't need an EV credit. Honestly, Teslas are not that expensive. I think it's like 30,000, 32,000 for a low end, which is now the same as a Hyundai. So it's not like they need a credit for it. It helps, sure, but it's not a needed thing for Tesla drivers.
Well, the craziest thing with the Tesla, I heard from a driver that I had on who was driving one for Uber. He said like the insurance is insane for it. So like when you start crunching the numbers like that becomes a big factor.
Maybe it might be more expensive if you have the self-driving option.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
That's what I would guess, because you're probably, if you're like, I will let my car drive itself, I'm sure your insurance is higher. Like, we don't have it, but we live in California. My wife's insurance, because I just saw the bill, is exceptionally high. I mean, it's like $1,300 or $1,400 for 6 months. Mine, in a car I barely drive, is $900 in California. And my homeowner's insurance in California just went up, like it doubled. So that's fun.
Why aren't you and your wife on this? Not to divert the conversation to
on a
domestic insurance conversation. Why aren't you on the same policy?
We have a. Oh, you mean like a joint policy for the two cars? Well, we have it all bundled with State Farm. That's who we bundle with. But I have to call my gal, and it's like Fight Club. Why am I not haggling with my credit card company? Like, I have to call her up and be like, "This is ridiculous. Like, you got to do something for me here. Been with you 20 years. Lower this." It's abusive. But hey, we're getting off topic here. Back to Musk and Trump. Yeah, the EV thing. Trump, he's attacking Elon over this and saying he knew it was in the bill, and it's the EV that pissed him off. No, Musk has the receipts, man. He has the videos. He's posting it. He's posting receipts of his own comments on the stuff Trump's accusing him of, and posting receipts of Trump's comments where Trump is dedicated to cutting the deficit and cutting all this stuff. And it's like, okay, he's exposing Trump as a hypocrite and a liar flat out. I mean, you got the MAGA crowd like cat turd out there defending Trump, but I think Trump's lost a lot of people. Matt Kibbe has been adamant in the Republicans are going to get raked over the coals over this if they don't make these things happen, because it's the vast majority people want this to happen. Even the MAGites.
I don't know what the numbers are. I mean, there are a surprising number of MAGites out there, just blind cult members who support Donald Trump no matter what. I don't know if that's like 60% of the base, 80% of the base. I would guess it's above half. I mean, they're out there on X. Make a comment on anything negative about Trump, and you'll be attacked.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of people who went MAGA, I think probably the biggest issue for them was the border. Immigration in particular. And I think that's an issue where, obviously border crossings have gone down, considerably, and we can get into later, because I think a lot of it has to do with Latinos not being good about being on time.
Yeah. I can't wait to talk about that.
Yeah. So, border crossings are down. There's a lot of deportations happening, but clearly not at a level where you're going to deport what by some estimates, like 15 million people here who are here undocumented, Yeah. So yeah, I think like sort of what was happening, whether it's with the budget or this music that's playing right now, is that we're just sort of confronted with, the behemoth of the Leviathan that is government, and just how big it is, and just how difficult it is to actually get stuff done, if it means having to cut spending, for sure.
Yeah, well, there's just no political will towards it. I mean, that's the thing I take away from this, is this spat with Elon Musk, and this will segue into another topic we want to talk about, is Elon Musk and the Libertarian Party. The spat with Musk and Trump, as number one, I said from the get-go, the DOGE stuff, whether it gets through or not, is good because they're publicizing it. They're publicizing the grift. You're seeing these people freak out and fight for the dumbest, worst causes. I mean, Democrats will die on the worst hills possible at all times, and they have been during this process. You see how much cronyism and corruption there is. That's good. That's waking people up. And then on top of that, though, it's like, okay, you've got Musk out there now, still retweeting what DOGE is doing that's good, but calling out the system. He's got the biggest platform and the biggest reach of anybody. I was talking this up on Mean Age Daydream. The tweet he put out calling the bill an abomination got something at last time I looked like 48 million views. And that was 3 days ago. God knows how many views it's got now. And then when he talks about it, similar to when Trump was running for office, Trump would say something on X and then the media would report it and run with it. And they've been running and reporting this so hardcore because they love the breakup aspect. But behind the breakup, why are they breaking up? Oh, it's over DOGE. So now they're exposing more and more people. It's an exponential amount of people. So the Overton window and all the spending is really expanding. And I think people are waking up to like the fear of like, this is a real issue. This is a problem that's substantial. It's over $100,000 in debt for every American. And Musk at this point, to segue into the Libertarian Party, I mean, he's calling for a creation of a new party. We had tweeted on the Libertarian side saying, look, come to our party. Come join us. We've got the infrastructure. You can instantaneously, I'd say overnight, make a political shift in this country that would be so momentous just by joining the Libertarian Party. It would send waves. It would send millions of dollars in funding to the Libertarian Party and make it a contender. And Elon Musk has such a huge platform that you can support the messages and the candidates to such a huge degree. It would be unbelievable.
I think you're incorrect, Brian, that the Libertarian Party.
Well, you're an idiot. That's our show.
That has the infrastructure to do anything. If anything, the Libertarian Party has like a negative infrastructure in place because it's built in infighting of people who cannot do anything together. So it's not only would he have to rebuild that, flatten out the foundation, and start building again, which is work and investment in itself. If you start your own party, you can start fresh. You can bring in your own people, start it up, put them in different states where you need them, and build from there. Libertarian Party, you have decades upon decades of people who have made the Libertarian Party their complete identity that will die over you not supporting transing kids, or will die over your number one fiscal policy not being ending the Fed. That's all they'll talk about. You can't talk about anything else unless you're going to talk about ending the Fed.
Okay.
So you need some compromise. I mean, you need something, and Libertarian Party is not compromise.
Okay. Yeah. Yes and no on that. There are a lot of people in the party, and again, I'm comms director of the party. I see this directly. There are a lot of people in the party who are very open to compromise and are not, at the hip joined to, dumb shit like open borders forever and whatever. There is a need, and this is what I came on board with the party to do. And I think if Musk came on board, this would accomplish it overnight. There's a need to broaden the base of who's a party member, because like you're talking about, you're not wrong. The party is so myopic in it's like, oh, you have to stick to these things, and you fight to the death over little things that really are, can turn off the vast majority of people. Not that that's a bad thing intrinsically, but you get Musk on board. Now you have a massive influx of people who are broader based in their thinking, that are not the people that are solely basing their identity on libertarianism. And that's what you need to move the party forward. That's where I'm thinking is like, you would bring in an influx of different voices, different minds, and people that don't want to adhere to these simple standards all the time and want to make an inference, like a difference, that are interested in the broader context of shrinking government, of free lives, free markets, and, gun ownership. All those people could get in and make a difference. And it could just create overnight such a terror in the other political parties and such momentum for people running as a libertarian, where it's now waking them up to like, there's another option out here, especially in like, these races where you see people that have been incumbents forever. Now you've got another option with people that they can run on the platform of, I'm a DOGE libertarian. And that's powerful.
Yeah, it's like that having a much bigger tent. Like a lot of people forget, like there was a time like where you had pro-life Democrats, like where the Democratic Party was, big enough where, you actually had, pro-lifers in it.
They were anti-war Democrats.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, I think it would be fun. I'm sure that Elon can afford a lifetime membership in the Libertarian Party. He gets a pin, I believe. If you could do that.
If he wants to buy a lifetime membership, I'm going to go in and request overnight. Be like, let's make that $200 million. He can still afford it.
But yeah, I think there would be, I know there were a number of people trying to do it on the local level. I kind of have like DOGE. This guitar solo is really worth listening through this microphone. Trying to get DOGE on the local level, to see like where spending is, and like, I mean, like even in like the small town that I live in, like there's always places where you're like, wait a minute, where the fuck is this money? Is this money going? Yeah. So I think there could be the larger discussion about federal spending, and then also have an opportunity to empower people on the local levels on to look into what what their states and cities are doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's and
from an idealistic standpoint, everything you're saying, it would be, both of you, it would be fantastic if that's how it would play out. I mean, that would be great if Musk comes in the Libertarian Party and everybody who's there says kumbaya, everyone holds hands, and we start, state and county DOGE committees, and we start digging into the expenses, and it's all funded by Elon, and we can do everything we ever wanted to, and we somehow end the Fed. It would be fantastic, but I just can't see the people in the Libertarian Party. Like, I just picture like Elon Musk coming into like the Pennsylvania Libertarian Convention, trying to get control and getting in fistfights with these libertarians, trying to hang on to the little bit of control they have in their lives over something.
Odie, you and I were members, and this is going to lose broader people, get in the weeds. We'll get out of the weeds in a moment. You and I were members of the Mises Caucus. I still am a member of the Mises Caucus, although I'm more, broad-based in my relationships. But they were able to take control of the Libertarian Party, and it didn't take long.
Who won the last election presidential nomination?
Well, Chase won it, but this is after Dave Smith dropped out, and that was a big blow. I think that kind of threw everything into turmoil. But point being, you can, if you have enough momentum and ideas. And don't forget, what we're talking about here is, if Musk comes in, a massive influx of people. Yes, there's going to be people that are in the party, but the convention's over a year away. The next convention, the next election cycle is 3 years away. He could come in within the next year, easily convince enough people that he's got the best interest of the Libertarian Party at heart. And that, honestly, if you're a libertarian that's like, I see these people commenting online because I tweeted out that he could do this, change the party. They're like, oh, he's a statist because he takes subsidies. Look, I'm sorry. If the subsidies are out there, if you're running a company and the government exists, you're a fucking moron if you don't take advantage of them. Like, libertarians who don't apparently understand business or running companies, if the government exists and you can get money from the government or take those tax cuts or whatever, you're going to do it. You should do it. Everybody else is doing it. If you're not, you're hurting yourself. You're just being stupid. If you want to get rid of them overall, which he does, great, do it. But don't shit on the man for taking advantage of a opportunity to save money and grow his company.
I agree. I agree with that. Yeah.
Right. Point being, he could come in and with the influx of people, with the momentum and with excitement, even the people that are going to say, oh, no, Musk's, they're going to get pushed to the side. And that's for the best, because it's either you wallow in masturbatory conventions or you actually have a chance to make an impact. And Musk would instantaneously make an impact and make us a viable party overnight, and one that I think would grow exponentially, especially in an era where people are looking at the uniparty and going, what the fuck are we doing?
So let me ask this. So what would be the benefit of Trump starting or coming into the Libertarian Party and having to work with the framework that's already in place with the bylaws and everything they have, and changing
Musk,
that?
Right? You said Trump. Musk, you mean?
Musk coming in and changing all of that, as opposed to starting fresh and being able to build it up on his own.
I don't think he has to change that many bylaws in the way we operate, to be honest. That's not really
Robert's
the problem
rules out the window. Let's stop that.
Well, I mean, God, wouldn't I love it? Wouldn't I love it? I don't think that's the problem. And let's not forget, he is autistic and allegedly a drug user. So he could probably download and understand Robert's rules in no time and outmaneuver anybody. But that's not the problem. That's not, I don't think, the issue within the party. The problem would be in, as you mentioned, convincing the people in power to shut the fuck up and get out of the way that want to maintain the old system. And like I said, I don't think it'll be an issue. I really don't. If they can't see the opportunity that would present, then I think they'll be ushered out on their own. You know, at some point, I can tell you right now, the makeup of the LNC as it stands, if Elon Musk came in tomorrow and wanted to support the party, he's not going to run the party. He's supposed to run through the, to become elected positions or whatever else. But if he wants to come in and be a supporter, a member, a voice in the party, he would be welcomed. There might be a couple people who would object, but I think everyone would more or less be on board and understand what that would mean for the party. All right. Well, let's do 30 seconds.
I thought we were going to hear from Kenny G and Lou Perez.
Wait, hold on. What's going on now? There's some can you guys hear that?
I can't hear it.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I think there's a better chance of Musk creating a colony on Mars than there is for him actually bringing peace to the Libertarian Party, So
he doesn't have to bring peace. Like all the party. Look all the parties fight all the time. Let's be clear on that. They can get stuff done though. They get elected still. That's the issue. And we can get elected as well, but the problem is not the infighting. The infighting will solve itself. If you have enough popularity, if you have enough money, if you have enough members, what happens is that you have an evening out of everything, which is what we need. To even everything out so that the regular people, the cooler heads prevail. You can have different voices of leadership. It would be fine. And you know what? If not, if it can't be saved, if Elon Musk comes on board and the Libertarian Party still can't get out of its own way, I will gladly call it a day. At least we know when we tried and we failed. That's honestly better than anything, right? Is it better to be in purgatory? I'd rather just be in heaven or hell. That's the way I look at it. I'd love to kickstart this thing. It's like collapsitarian philosophy. It's either going to work or it's not. Let's find out. This is the time. Let's find out.
Well, I mean, I think we're going to find out something one way or the other. I don't think or just keep saying Trump. I don't think Elon is going to join the Libertarian Party. What I think could happen is Elon backing GOP DOGE-friendly GOP members in the primary, which I think could be pretty interesting to watch. Which that would just continue this war and escalate this war between Trump and Elon in through election season, which would be crazy. Crazy to watch unfold. I just don't see, because Elon wants to be involved in everything that he does. He's not going to, become a member of the Libertarian Party and then say, I'm just a member. Here's all my money. Do what you want with it, guys.
I want him to be involved. I'd welcome him being involved. It'd be wonderful.
I think it's easier though, just to target races in the GOP. Rather, he's not getting involved in the inner workings of the GOP. He's just funding what he wants to, and he's backing candidates that he wants to.
Okay, but Odie, he's been burned on that in the past. That he just said he doesn't want to do a ton of spending. That's the other beauty of the Libertarian Party. You donate $2 million. Guess what, Elon? You're the big winner. It doesn't take a lot to change the momentum in supporting our candidates in our party as it does to other elections. He's been burned. He spent hundreds of millions of dollars getting people elected that have now fucked him in the ass. So why would you want to go down that path again? You don't want to vet all these different races and then have them betray you anyway, when you could go to a party which only runs candidates aligned with you already.
Well, he said that before he doubled his ketamine dose, and now he wants to do it again.
Well, I mean, it might be in his interest then to, if he's not going to go the full LP route, then to focus on something like the Free State Project. I mean, he could. I mean, if he was to actually put a lot of attention there, I mean, he could do a lot of work for the Free State Project. I don't know what launching rockets would look like from New Hampshire. I mean, I don't know if they're
It'd
better.
Be beautiful in the fall.
If it'd be great, better than in Florida. But I think there's a lot of work that he could do there for sure.
Yeah. Instead of libertarians say removal from society, let's take them out in a helicopter, drop them in the ocean. No more helicopters, just rockets. Shoot them into space.
Straight to the moon. I had made a joke that, obviously Kim Jong-un, there's a meme going on. He's like, I'd be your new rocket man to Donald Trump. But he also, Kim Jong-un famously had like, blown up generals that he thought betrayed him, like, put him on military firing ranges and shot them with missiles. Donald Trump right now is like, he's got the Tesla Musk gave him. It would be hilarious. I'm on Team Musk 100% here, but it would be hilarious if Donald Trump just had the Tesla live streamed it in the middle of a field and just showed off our new weaponry, just blowing it up.
Or the two of them like strike a deal where it's like, okay, you can colonize Mars, but all undocumented immigrants are going to be sent there. So it's going to be
Australia,
like
space Australia.
It's going to basically be
all the criminals.
Elon's brood, was it brood or breed, and then undocumented immigrants, just making the new world on Mars.
Was that a real tweet? I can't find it now. Where Trump told Elon to go back to Africa. Did you guys see that one?
I don't know. I think it was fake. I was reading some tweet. I believe this is fake too. This was sent. I just saw Donald J. Trump. I think this is fake. Maybe it's not. If it's real, it's hilarious. From @real Donald Trump, but probably fake. Elon Musk is a liar. He lies way more than I do. Many people say so. Very smart people. So when he claims to know for certain that I am included in the Epstein files, you could just ignore him. Fake news. He lies so much. Very large quantities of lies I've heard. Also, he is very disrespectful of me. He started calling Air Force One Panda Express because it carries orange chicken. So disrespectful. Considering placing tariffs on ketamine, that'll teach him a lesson.
Yeah, it's a little too on the nose with that one.
Too on the nose, but it is a hilarious era. So wait, Epstein files. Let's talk about that. I'll pose this question. 2 questions. Number one, do you think Trump is on or in the Epstein files? And 2, do you buy the argument that some of the MAGA people are making that if he was on those files, they would have been released during the Biden era?
Well, I think this is kind of a trick, not questioned by you, but by the way Elon phrased it, we already know that Trump is in the Epstein files, that he flew on his plane 7 times. He never flew, at least according to what's been released, never flew to the island, but he flew like to Florida, to New York, to so that's out there. Like everybody, you can find that. That's proven. That's credible. So what Musk said is already technically accurate.
Yeah, true. Lucifer.
Yeah, I mean, with the whole Epstein thing, I mean, obviously the guy had a reach into all sorts of people, whether it's politicians or academics and that sort of thing. Well, one thing that which is really hard for me to believe is that somehow every single one of those guys that was somehow associated with him was into having sex with underage girls. It's just, there's definitely people out there that's their thing, but the idea that every single one involved, if Epstein gave money to some researcher at Harvard, then that researcher must have been into that sort of thing. So I think just like starting there, I just don't buy it. And I think I remember hearing about like Trump having a relationship with him, a friendship, and then cutting ties, right? Like I don't know if he
Melinda Gates did.
To like bar him from Mar-a-Lago and that sort of thing. So I guess that has to be taken into account too. I think, but more than anything, it's like, I mean, I still want to. I would still like to see what that list is and what that black book is, and and nobody's talking to. Was it Ghislaine? Maxwell about
Ghislaine
Maxwell.
Well, I think that's it. Well, I mean, you raised a good point, both of you guys. So number one, Trump. Who knows what he was into? I'm sure there were regular, good old fashioned prostitutes all over Epstein Island too. And we know he traveled on it. And I think the question is, I mean, if nothing comes out that's epic about Trump, then it would make me lose trust and respect for Elon Musk if he's just posting that allegation, right? He's the Epstein files, Trump sent him. If you're going to post that, and it is just the same thing, he's on the logs we all know about, then you now have completely lost credibility, because now it's just shit posting to shit post, like a girlfriend scorned. So that would undermine so much else of what's going on or what you have to say. Honestly, I wonder if it could be a huge tactical blunder on Elon Musk's part. If it's real, we'll see. But it could be a huge blunder because, if there's nothing there, man, then your biggest tweet that you tweeted about this whole issue was over nonsense, nothing burger. I'll tell you what, I'm excellent at making points so good that neither of my co-hosts has anything else to say about it.
And guys, well, I want to reveal to you right now that this music is actually me DJing.
Nice. You got a little scratch pad underneath.
A little scratch pad. Again, I'm in the corner, Greensboro, North Carolina. It's daytime. It's a strip club. The lights are on. But again, kind of going back to what I said before, it's just I'm surprised that things got so ugly so quickly and so catty, we often hear about, you learn about the shit like, Richard Nixon was saying behind closed doors, at least years later, when those recordings are released, there's a lot of stuff that should kind of remain secretive. That would just make sense. As much as I want to know about, as much as I love gossip, as the next chick, I think there are some fights that probably should take place behind closed doors instead of out front in the open, especially with two figures who are just so polarizing, and who came together, to actually make something happen, and then for it to go like this. Now I'm like, what the fuck do we have to look forward to down the road?
It's like Truman and Stalin. So one thing I wanted to say here is I brought up the argument people are making that if Trump was in the Epstein files, the Democrats would have released it. The most easily debunked stupid argument, because obviously we already know that there's a ton of Democrats that were on those flights nonstop to Epstein's Island. So no, it doesn't make sense to say the Democrats would have released it to get Trump, because then you open up the can of worms of all your people that went to the island. So no, it's a no-go from the get-go type of deal. Just like voting, just like this bill, just like the DOGE spending cuts. There's too many people with too many hands in the kitty, literally and figuratively.
I want to see the Venn diagram of the Epstein Island and Diddy's freak-offs and just see what we can get there. I want a part of me,
same dealer on
Stephen Hawking just going to both representing.
Where apparently the midgets were drawing on. He had naked midgets drawing equations on chalkboards. That's what I heard.
Can that possibly be true?
I hope it's true. God, I hope it's true.
Oh man! But this is just one more thing about Musk and Elon before we move on to people being perpetually late. It's such a unique circumstance with these two, because they're both so rich and powerful, and their influence is so big. Like most people, like if Brian and I got in a big fight, we would think, well, let's not do this on social media because people will think less of our character, and that might harm us with ability to make money or get deals with other people. Or, but these two, who cares? Like it doesn't affect them. Like nothing affects them. They can come back from anything. So it's just wild to see.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of like when two NFL players that are all padded up, they both feel invincible, and you just see them coming. It's like a heavy running back and a big hitting safety. They just go kablam, and you're just like, all right, well, hopefully there's no neck injuries. Yeah, this is a battle for the ages, and I'm here for it. What a week! What a political season! God, thank God for Donald Trump. I know people can hate him, but for this alone, for the entertainment factor alone, thank you, Donald Trump. All right, let's move on. Lou had shared with us a very interesting piece of, I don't know what you call it, cultural anthropology in
science.
Science. Yeah, science. Polychronic time. So Lou, walk us through this polychronic time as a man who this is appealing and applying to people of Latino heritage, which you are a proud Latino man. So
yeah, I mean, well, this is the first time that I've heard about this. I am notoriously on time, but apparently Latinos, or in here they do the Latinx thing. They just Latinxers just experience time differently, and that's why they're that's why they're late to shit. And this is just fucking amazing. Just, being the son of an immigrant who where I'm just like, no, you gotta, having grown up where, no, you gotta get your ass to where you need to be on time.
You have to get to work on time, right? You're just supporting a family as an immigrant. You're learning a new language.
Yeah. So it's pretty hilarious. And I think the person who posted it, Garlic Smith,
garlic salt.
Oh, is that what it is? Garlic salt.
Sola.
Who reported, here we go with, sort of this race science shit. And it's just, it's pretty, I don't know. Am I even offended by this? I don't know.
Time is abundant and fluid. Nothing matters. Time is everywhere. Yeah.
Well, here's who should be offended. This is posing that Latin people or Latin Xers can be late all the time and don't understand or have a different concept of time. If I'm black, this is cultural appropriation. You're stealing CPT away from us. You're stealing colored people time.
That is true. That is true.
I mean,
well, we were taking your jobs, and now we're taking your experience of time, your relativity as it comes to time. And yeah, I mean, with stuff like this, it's just so important, I think, to just call out, the bullshit. And someone who commented on this shared something that was put in the, I think it was like the Smithsonian in regards to what white supremacy culture looks like. And one of the things is definitely showing up on time, putting an emphasis on individualism and hard work and all that. And look, it's just the reality that if you actually want to make something of yourself in the world, you have to put away your I'll call it my savage ways of fucking of experiencing time differently, and get yourself a fucking an alarm clock and get your ass there at least 15 minutes before you have to be, and you're in good shape. And for me, I'm notoriously early for flights. I'm never missing a flight.
Coming.
Yes, very early. Sometimes I come before I'm even fucking. It's crazy.
Just walking towards your wife. Sorry, baby, I'm on polychromatic lovemaking time.
Oh man.
But
one thing at the end here that it talks about, like, how you have to do this, like when you get busier and busier, you got to put like
Odie, here, read through so they know what you're talking about. People who aren't watching.
Yeah, what we're looking at. I guess I'll just read this thing on the screen here.
Yeah,
it's like
you make your point at the end so they know what you're.
It's like a comic book almost. So it says as a header. Now I'm not saying that your uncle should arrive to your child's baptism 2 hours late, and then it's got your sketchy uncle saying, "Sorry, I was watching the game," as the baby's being baptized. But the need to make the need to make time hyperproductive makes interactions feel impersonal and transactional. Then it says spending time with family feels like a task to be fulfilled with a checklist, and friend hangouts are marked on Google calendars like business meetings. And I mean, this does happen. Like, I have to put things on my calendar, from getting drinks with friends, or, even like going on a date with my wife, because I'll forget otherwise. Like, but you mark that stuff down. But what this is pointing out is, and it's a problem, is people don't live in that moment then. Is they're looking forward to the next thing on their calendar, and they're not experiencing, the joy and the fulfillment in that moment with your friends or with your family or whatever that is. That's not on time being the problem. That's on you. That's a you problem. Like, you got to just learn how to enjoy life.
Yeah, and I gotta tell you, I tend to enjoy my time with white people more than Latinos who don't show up on time. So
because they're not there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's weird how that works. When people actually are there on time, you enjoy your time with them because they're there. It's so ridiculous. I know honestly, most of the people I know that are Latino are very punctual. I know a couple of people that aren't, but for the most part, very punctual. And I don't understand this concept. Like, why are they trying to, number one, why are they trying to brand this as some sort of thing to be proud of? It's not. And why are they trying to spin this? Like, what kind of mindset do you have where you're like, you know what? I need to excuse at this point, it's got to be a cultural thing. They're saying it is a cultural emphasis on not giving a shit about other people's time. Because that's the thing. If you're making a date with somebody, if you're making a schedule with somebody, you're paying money, you're spending your time, you're saying by showing up late, the message is always my life and my time are more important than your life or your time. That's the message. So if the cultural message of Latinos, by this person's definition, is I don't respect your time and I'm going to show up whenever I feel like it, why would I want to spend time with you?
Yeah, and also just like again, it's like another example of people treating Latinos as this monolith. This idea that Costa Ricans and Chileans and people from Paraguay and Uruguay are the same, is ridiculous. But with stuff like this, it's we all have family, we all have spouses, we all have kids, we all have friends who when we have the time, when we're not working, that we look forward to hanging out with. And I think X and social media has just done this wonderful job of kind of putting before me all of these people who I have no desire to have any relationship with. It's sort of like, people who think like this, I don't give a fuck. Thank God you're not in my fucking life,
Yeah.
And just, and it's kind of a beautiful thing where it's sort of, it allows you to kind of look inward and look at those who you choose to surround yourself with and be like, wow, I'm really fortunate about, to be in the position where I am, where I get to kind of fill my life with people who I want to be around and let these motherfuckers show up late to, wherever.
Yeah.
Speaking of people that you don't want to be around, that brings us to our next and last topic for the day. This is another one that Lou sent over. And this one, I'll let you expand on it, Lou, but this one essentially talks about, it's a post by Noor, I don't know how to say her last name, Siddiqui. And she talks about, she says, when I was in elementary school, my mom started going blind. Retinitis pigmentosa. No family history, no treatments, no cure. I got lucky. She didn't. It led me to build at Orchid. This is a lot of hard things to say here. So my baby and everyone else's gets to win the genetic lottery, avoid blindness and hundreds of severe genetic diseases. Today, the New York Times covered the tech, blah, blah, blah. So essentially, the big headline here in the Times is this baby was carefully selected as an embryo. Thoughts?
Yeah, I think a number of people are pointing out that, she's not like curing the baby in utero of these ailments. Mm-hmm. They're either selecting for these, they're selecting against these characteristics or just aborting, the baby outright. And it's like, yeah, obviously that's the way to stop a child from being born who will go blind eventually by not having that child be born. Someone pointed out a good example of Iceland. It'd be like the people in Iceland saying, we have cured Down syndrome. It's like, yeah because you abort every child with Down syndrome. That's how you cured it. Yeah. And what's so interesting is that Noor just kind of opens herself to this thought experiment, like, oh, if you could go back in time and abort her mother so that the mother would not one day grow up to become blind, would you do it? Without getting into a hill,
which is a brilliant point. It is a brilliant point.
Yeah, and without getting into a whole conversation about ethics and morality, when does life begin, and that sort of thing. It's like, let's be honest with what's happening here. I would be really interested and enthusiastic about this if there's a way of like, we're able to look at your embryo and the DNA, and we're able to fine tune the baby. But this is where we are.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting going into this. When I first looked at it, I was like, oh, okay. So they went in and they selected a thing. I was like, okay, there's nothing wrong. They're like, oh, wait, embryo. That's a different level. That's a different demon to address. Yeah, if you could, like you're saying, if you could go in and tweak it, I mean, if it's at the cellular level before it gets anywhere near even being a fetus, and this gets into theology. When does life be, like you were saying? But it's when it's an embryo, yeah, you are killing off these other embryos, then, or not selecting them or doing whatever with them. Give them to somebody else to try. Maybe they don't mind having a blind kid, but it comes back to be like, the Stephen Hawking thing too. Stephen Hawking, one of the most brilliant physicists of our lifetime, or any lifetime,
and a pussy magnet, right? And
a guy who liked to see midgets draw equations on Epstein Island.
I mean, he was a pussy magnet in the way that a black hole just sucks in everything. He was just a black hole.
He was always in the corner of the well-lit strip club.
Yeah,
hanging,
spinning. We got Madonna playing right now.
DJing
at Perez's Puss Factory. I think that's what you called it. Stephen Hawking. It's like Stephen Hawking would have been aborted 20 times over by all these people. It's the presumption. It's like anything. It's the presumption that what's best and that you should make this choice. And I can understand if we could, like you're saying, if we could edit out things, it's the question of whether or not people with horrifically bad conditions should be or should not be allowed in society. I mean, that's one that I feel at certain points, if it's too far gone, it's absolutely hideous either way. It's still
John, I just wanted to pop in and say this. Anybody who who's had kids, they do. My wife had like genetic, testing done, and
right, yeah, they can screen out a lot of that. Yeah,
and with one of our babies, it was like there's a 1% chance that he could be born with Downs, right? And you're thinking about that, and you're like, and your focus is on, oh my God, what does that life look like, and all that, but then you forget, oh, there's the 99% chance that he isn't. And my wife and I mean, we both had this discussion beforehand, because they're like, we could do more testing, we could do I think test the amniotic fluid and stuff, and we were like, well, that's not going to work for us, because no matter what our baby is, we're going to, if our baby has Downs, then he has Downs. We're moving forward, and we want our baby. So I think I wonder too about this, like this kind of like genetic testing, how much of it is, you're potentially like destroying an embryo or not, implanting an embryo when that baby could very well grow up and not have this thing that you're very fearful of,
Right. Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah.
Well,
honestly,
if I could just chime in, there's that side of it, which I think is, hopefully people understand that, because that's pretty clear and straightforward. You could be extinguishing a life of someone that is perfectly, not to say normal, not to say the people that have Downs aren't normal, but I guess that's how I'm explaining it. But also, when just to get down to like the Icelandic, like Down syndrome thing, people who have Down syndrome, they're human beings also. I'm not saying you guys aren't saying they're not, but there's a special type of like humanity there that is like, it is beautiful. They see the world in a different way, right?
Yeah. Happy, smiling. Yeah. God, the only charity I give to regularly is the Special Olympics. And
what scares me with stuff like this, and even when you start talking about gene editing, like, is that we're going to end up, 50, 100 years from now with humans who all look the same, perfectly edited, the blonde hair, blue eyes, or whatever people wanted at
who was
time.
famous for experimenting with genomics? Who's the guy? I heard his name, Hitler. Hitler. He was big into that. Yeah. Big into that. Yeah, we risk going down a very dark path, and it's also a dark path, and also a singular path of the beauty of humanity. The reason humanity has flourished is that, and let's not forget this, if you believe in evolution, some people do, some people don't. I personally do. Evolution is based upon genetic mutation, adaptation, the exception to the norm coming into play in this world, whether by design or luck. Let's say it that way, right? if you are now in control of that entire process and what does or does not get to move forward, you are probably hampering human evolution rather than helping it, if I'm being perfectly honest, because you are now canceling out a lot of those chances on the once in a lifetime exceptions to the rule, the mutants among us, if you will. The evolutionary aspect of humanity probably will get screened out. So you're in fact probably cutting humanity off at the knees.
Yeah, and as John was saying, there is a kind of this dehumanizing language that's used when talking about people with Downs or these other genetic.
We can say that word again.
Yeah,
I was told.
Genetic mutation. But what I find interesting is that oftentimes the people who are doing the dehumanizing, right, don't expect to be treated the same way, like in kind. Like there's this idea, like listen, Nor, or whatever your fucking name is. I mean, yeah, you're talking about aborting babies, but I'm supposed to like treat you with all the dignity and respect of a human being when you don't show the same respect on the other side. And look, I've never had a conversation with her. I could be wrong. My apologies. But I'm just going by stuff that I've read of hers in the past. And there's this one dipshit. I forget what his fucking name is, but
Brian Nichols,
that dipshit,
new member of the Lions of Liberty podcast. No.
There's this guy who has been showing up in my feed for these very just like out there takes. Like he seems kind of like I don't know if he's like a PhD in philosophy, where they run a lot of like thought experiments. And one thing that he wrote was like, when do we start killing them? Meaning like his political enemies. And then another one was like, why are we charging this woman who slit the throat of her newborn? Meanwhile, a few months ago, it would have been okay for her to abort it and all that. And it's like, I'm expected to show this guy humanity and decency and respect that he obviously doesn't have for his other, for his political enemies, or in the case of a woman slitting a toddler, a baby's throat, and it's like, no, no thanks.
Yeah. Man.
What a way to end
humanity,
that one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Ending on a high note. You got to remember, guys, this is a comedy and politics podcast.
And depression too. So,
but like these are real issues, right? I'll lighten it up. Lou, what I respect about you is, you have 2 children, which means you went into the doctor. They were like, there's a 1% chance that your kid's going to have Down syndrome. You had the kid, you went back to the doctor again, and there's still that % chance. And you're like, you know what we're doing? We're double downsing.
And also they're like, it's amazing that there's only a 1% chance because their father is a retard.
Yeah. Well, and 1% plus 1%. Well, if you put them next to each other, 11%, you always double downs on 11.
That's what they start with. They actually didn't do the test. They just knew the father was retarded. So we know it's at least 1%.
Took one look at him. Took one look. All right. Anything else, guys?
I just want to say I'm so happy that I showed up on time to have this conversation with 2 men that I respect very much, and they are white. So we're keeping it,
they don't know that if they're just listening.
They can tell. They can tell.
Oh yeah. I can't with you. Yeah, next time let's code switch. All right. We'll
right.
Get some other accents on. But thanks, boys. I enjoyed the convo for show.
Absolutely, man. Again, yeah, and Lou, since this is live and people are gonna listen to it again, where are you gonna be at tonight? Where are you gonna be at coming up?
Yeah, so right now we're doing a little rest stop in Greensboro, North Carolina. So if anybody is around,
Scott Thompson is really living the Buddy Cole lifestyle, just going to rest stops and blowing dudes. Love it.
Yeah. So we're here for the night, and then we're heading to Atlanta. We have a show at the City Winery in Atlanta on the 10th, and then the next night I'm in Palm Springs for Freedom Fest. Doing the show, a show out there that sold out. Actually, the Punching Up Comedy.
I would have seen you there if not for this stupid hernia, man. I would have been there. That sucks.
Thank you.
All right. Well, of course, say your website real quick, Lou.
TheLouPerez.com.
There you go. TheLouPerez.com. Guys, he's muted again because of God knows what's playing in the background. We, of course, are the Lions of Liberty Network here. This is the Politicks podcast, which has its own feed, hopefully as of today. But if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to the Lions of Liberty Network. Follow us all on Twitter, on socials. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We're always shadow banned. And if you want more, you can get us at patreon.com/Lions of Liberty or lionsofliberty.locals.com, where we post our bonus content, extra shows, extra interviews. I know Lou, once he's done touring around, is going to be popping up on there. And we've got all sorts of fun stuff for you. So that's it. Odie, any last words? As always, a valuable addition to the show. All right, guys, never forget, they are all bloodsuckers. We'll talk to you soon.
Let's begin.